What's up? And welcome back. It's that time again. Another Tiny's Universe. A little bit late, but like I said, better late than never. And I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be back. And I am excited to talk about what we have going on this week. I know we touched base last week a little bit with what we had coming up with the new Kickstarter, but um, I would love to bring in Evan and touch base on how that's starting out. So, with that being said, uh, Evan, where are you at?
Boom.
Boom. Um, how's it going?
It's going good. It's been a very hectic run to the launch, and then into now getting as much done before a small holiday break, and then more insanity after that. So I am both overwhelmed and excited in the best possible way.
Good. Yeah, been definitely hectic. I mean, between like my normal work here, and then you can't see it behind me. I'm all like festive, and I have like behind the scene like
Yes.
my Christmas tree with lights and stockings and all that. So it's very festive, but it has been, man, with like Christmas and all that. It's just been a whirlwind.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Um, all of that happening simultaneously, as it does every year. It's not a massive surprise, but it still seems like every year is a little like, oh man, there's these things to finish before everyone shuts down, and then everyone is shutting down, and
Man,
just all the coordination of all that stuff. But despite all that, very excited about what's going on. All the hard work that I won't even give myself credit. I'll just say all of the hard work that the team has put in across everything they're working on is really awesome. And there's, as always, new stuff developing every week as well. So I also am very excited for what's going to happen in 2025 and a bunch of the things that we'll be able to share and talk about. Some of it coming in January and February, and then I think next year is just going to be a whirlwind of, we keep saying it, but a lot of the dots connecting. A lot of what has been happening over the past 4 years at this point, 5 years really in total, but 4 years kind of headed in a particular direction. A lot of those things come to fruition in 2025. So it's exciting. It's an exciting time. Fun stuff. So I guess, I'll start with a couple of just quick updates for anyone that has been following along, or if you haven't been following along, then a quick update on just kind of what we're up to. So backing up for 1 second, I am Evan Matthews, co-founder and CEO at Macroverse. Macroverse is a next generation publishing company, focused at the intersection of physical and digital media, and doing all kinds of interesting, never before done things at that intersection. We've been developing a bunch of technology and working with a bunch of different partners. And as I was, kind of teasing a moment ago, a lot of those things are now starting to see the light of day, including these first 2 Kickstarter campaigns. The first one that we did for a set of Golden Age comics called Pre-Code Horror. And then now we've just launched a campaign with Archie Comics as our partners this past Tuesday. So we're about 48 hours into the Archie campaign. Just as a side note, if you're interested in these things, both of them are currently live on Kickstarter, but the Pre-Code Horror campaign is closing at 9 a.m. Pacific tomorrow morning. So this is the last, 16 hours, whatever it is, 14 hours.
But I definitely wanted that's if I was before we jumped straight into Archie or anything like that. I did want to touch base on that and say that is technically already ended, but it did go into the extended set. Yes, and I
good. Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure that everybody, knew that was actually kind of wrapping up. I know I've been seeing a few updates on there. There's still updates coming, and I'm getting really excited about that one.
Yeah, it's awesome. So, again, kind of quick recap. So this is a collection of, basically a total of about 100 titles from the golden age of horror comics. This is a fascinating period in comics history. And we've developed a process which we call authentic editions to be able to recreate these books the way that they were presented originally when they were pulled off the shelf. So it's the same printing techniques. It's the same paper quality and feel. It even smells like the original books. And so we've really just been obsessed with how do we create this experience where when you hold these in your hands, it's as if you've stepped into a time machine, went back to the 40s or 50s and pulled these off the newsstand. I've said it the last couple of streams, but we've just been getting the last batches of printer samples and just, fine tuning every little detail as we now head towards printing, which is why the Kickstarter is actually closing tomorrow morning, is we're now ready to start, moving everything to actual printing and fulfillment and shipping and all of that. So I've been making content and media of all kinds for over 20 years at this point. I've literally never been more excited about anything that I've made getting into people's hands. There's a lot of things I've been excited about people seeing or experiencing or being able to play with, but there is something about these which is really hard to explain. And so actually I'm incredibly grateful for the amount of kind of belief that what we've talked about with this has been so well supported by collectors and by the comics community and people that are into this book or are into this project. We're closing in on about 400,000 in backing on Kickstarter, which is awesome and kind of right around where we had hoped to end up. So this first collection, we've been able to talk about it. We've been kind of playing with it and fine tuning it with the printer and with our fulfillment partners and all the process that we've developed around this. But mid-January, people will start to get these in their hands, and I cannot wait, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, for people to start sharing some unboxing videos and just the experience of, actually having these and going through them. There's a couple of fun surprises that we built into what people are going to be able to do with them when they get them. So there's just I am on the edge of my seat for people to get these in their hands. So that collection, again, closing in about 14 hours, 9 a.m. Pacific, will be the end of their availability to the general public. And then that first batch, this first batch of Pre-Code Horror, we'll finalize the print run, go to press, and then move from printing to our shipping partners, and all that will then start getting sent to backers' hands and doorsteps, which again, just very excited about. And then we followed that up with an Archie campaign. And so also from the Golden Age, this is the first appearance of Archie, the first appearance of Betty and Veronica, the first appearance of Jughead, first appearance of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, all in this collection. And we talked a lot about it last week, but people underestimate the importance of Archie and the overall kind of history and landscape. We've gotten, it's been a lot of fun to interact with people again, sort of as this campaign has started to roll out on social media, and seeing the rampant Team Betty or Team Veronica response, which is one of the fun things we're doing in the campaign.
I was gonna say, I feel like too, and I don't know if now at this point I'm just like targeted, but I feel like the marketing's a little bit heavier, or I'm seeing more.
Yeah.
And then same, like the response on all of them. Like I said, I kind of watch how many shares and how many different comments and stuff. Like it seems like more people are engaging with them as well.
Yeah. It's probably about the same from our perspective on the back end, but it's a different, it's an overlapping but slightly different audience. And so I think what's been really interesting is that a lot of the Pre-Code Horror collectors are coming at it more from the point of view of these are very hard to get a hold of, very rare books. And so, we've talked a lot about that in previous weeks about just, most of the books in the Pre-Code Horror Collection, people have never even seen. Like, you've seen the covers, but you've never seen the interiors, read the stories. They're incredibly difficult to get a hold of. Suspense Comics #3, which is one of the ones in the collection, there's 40 copies that are known to exist, in the world. So, it's this very rare kind of special collection of this very particular type of material. Archie, obviously a much bigger brand, a much well-known cast of characters. There've been all the TV spinoffs and all of that stuff. And so it's a slightly different audience in that this is still very much geared towards collectors because of the nature of the time period and the significance of the first appearances. But it's also, something that people have more experience with. So a lot of the people that we've been interacting with online, like, oh yeah, I grew up reading Archie in a way that you didn't grow up reading, Suspense or Punch or Chamber of Chills, And so, there's a fun crossover there. And then it's also been interesting to just see, we kind of suspected this, but to see the different cohorts or the different groups of Archie fans. There's certainly the Betty and Veronica fans, or the the core Archie series fans, or the Sabrina fans. And so being able to have something to essentially give an option to each of those groups, as well as the overall Archie fan base as a whole, has been really fun. Archie's very happy with it, which makes us very happy. So we've got a bunch of stuff planned with them after the holiday, as we're into the second half of the campaign. And it's,
so what have you actually been able to like show them? I mean, like, have they seen?
Yeah.
So actual physical, like.
Yeah. So fun fact, as we were developing the process to do all of this over the past couple of years, the very first print samples that we did were Archie print samples. And so we had, we actually used an Archie book as the original test, kind of.
Now, was that before you had actually talked to them and you were just testing out the old?
Yeah. So Adam Fortier, who's our head of publishing, I mean, he's had a long-standing relationship with the team at Archie, so it wasn't completely out of the blue. But it was the first thing that we actually produced, and we met with them at Comic-Con a couple of years ago to show them those initial samples. And again, just the reaction. You talk about kind of like, oh, we've got this idea for a special kind of reprint, and you don't really get it until you hold it in your hands.
Yeah.
The funny thing, which I just found out this past week as we were launching the Kickstarter, and this is just so true. It's so indicative of this time period. Even Archie Comics doesn't have a reprint of Archie #1. Like, there's nothing in the archives that they have that could create this reprint. So while Archie is very different than Pre-Code in that, if you want to read Archie #1, it's very easy to get your hands on a reprint or a collected edition, or like, these books are much more available as far as being able to like access them and read them.
Yeah.
But the original, again, the look and the feel and the original coloring and the, the actual, what did this look like in the 50s, literally does not exist at the company that created it. And so as we're looking at the kind of existing facsimile reprints versus the authentic edition reprints, as one of the things I'm also excited about is like, as we print these, in the kind of late first quarter of next year, then I think we'll also be able to get a bunch of kind of like, oh, here's what this one looks like, here's what this one looks like, and kind of the comparison there is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think people are going to be mind blown that are used to the more modern, facsimile, glossy paper.
Yep.
I can't wait. I mean, like, because that's what, it's what I collect anyway. It's just like, so, I mean, I've just been like, every update. Yeah, no, I'm dug in. I can't wait to like, I'm a little disappointed that I'm not going to be opening like the big giant box and pulling out, a bunch of different ones. But no, I'm definitely excited, and we'll be, you know, filming how that comes out and how it's shipped.
We'll have to do an unboxing on this show. It'll be fun.
So the only thing that I'm unsure of is how much I will be pulling the books out and touching them. I am very, you know, I'm very picky about that. So
you're gonna have to pull them out and touch them initially.
I mean, the back's
yes,
you know. I just don't know if I will, you know, I don't know. We'll see. I said
I
wouldn't know before my other ones either. I was like, I have to.
They are all shipping bagged and boarded, but we do hope people will take them out and read them and experience them. And you know, if you're at all like me when I was, you know, collecting comics more than weekly, then, you know, at the height of it, I was always buying a reader copy and a collector copy. But even outside of that, it's like I just got very good at, like, you know, I don't know about you, but I like read my comics like, you know, kind of like this.
Oh yeah.
Like, you're not bending the spine, you're
yeah, with like the quarter open. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
that's exactly how I do it.
Yeah. So, you know, you're both experiencing the story and the art and protecting the, you know, not financial advice investment. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's me. I like usually I'm like, wash my hands, put it on the table. Like, let's see how little I can get this open and still.
Now, actually, here's a fun fact for people about how we're doing this, and also just something we learned through this process. So, you know, the fulfillment partner that we're working with that will actually do the physical packing and shipping, they, you know, we met them and came to them because they have a very particular way of being able to take a lot of different pieces and put them together into a specific package. And so you can imagine that with like subscription boxes and things like that. And it's kind of their specialty. And so a lot of the higher end things that they deal with, like they literally have people in, you know, white gloves, you know, handling these pieces so that you're not getting fingerprints on them. You're not, you know, running the risk of having a finger, you know, crease something, whatever. With comics, as we talked to a bunch of other people in the industry, we actually came to find out you don't want to white glove them because you can't feel then what your hand is actually doing on the paper. And so you're actually more likely to damage the individual books, let's say putting them in bags and boards, if you can't actually feel what you're doing with your fingertips. But as we then talked to them about that, they were like, okay, we can, you know, we'll make sure we don't do the gloves. We'll, you know, make sure we handle these very carefully. Do you want us to like scrub in and out, you know, as we're, you know, going to pack the books? And we were like, I mean, yeah, cool. So basically, as each of these is packed, you're getting like surgical, you know, scrubbing in and out of the production
Their
line.
poor hands are gonna be like raw.
Oh, so I mean, we're planning a trip to go like get some footage and stuff of this process so we can share it, because it's gonna be really fun to actually watch like the whole pick and pack and, you know, all of that process. So it's very fun.
That is pretty cool though. No, I mean, like I mean the whole logistics to me is mind blowing. Not only that, like they're able to, you know, like that you guys are gonna keep it going. Like it's not just this little bit. I mean, they're gonna have a lot on their hands. So
yeah,
I'm curious to see how the first one rolls out. But you know, I think that like it'll be perfected definitely. On the second go around. But no, I'm
I mean, I'll just share the way we're thinking about this is like it's really, really important for us to nail it with, you know, with the way that these are delivered to people. So we're really trying to be overly concerned about each of the steps and how they're being packed, and like we really want people to have just a wonderful experience getting these and feel good about having purchase them and, you know, supporting the project and all that good stuff. And that said, like, you know, we also are basically giving ourselves the first 3 projects to kind of perfect the whole process, because we know we'll continue to learn things along the way. And so, you know, making sure it's a delightful experience for collectors is kind of priority number 1. But as we go through Archie and then the next one, which I won't announce just yet, but it'll be early next year, you know, by the time we've fulfilled all three of those first campaigns, first, you know, series, you know, we know that there'll be even more kind of perfecting the process as we kind of go through that.
Well, so let's kind of talk about where we're at now. I mean, it's been what, just a couple days now. I mean,
yeah. So we launched on Tuesday. And so I think
that was what I saw on the first update. It was fully funded in what, the first
30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Yep. That was about the same as pre-code. So, you know, when we get to number 3, now the goal is like 3 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I think, you know, I'm not doubtful that it could be like that once people start to get these in their hands. I mean, and then as the titles grow, I mean, you know, gosh, I can't imagine that people won't be jumping at them.
No, I think so. I mean, this is, again, I think when people actually get to feel what they are and see what they are, I think, yeah, certainly what I'm hoping for, but I think it's going to be we would like to see a kind of Supreme style drop mechanic start to happen with these, which, you know, which is not to say artificial constraint for supply, because that's not what we're trying to do. But I do think that, you know, the more special we can make this, there's a balance between what you can get through the initial launch and then what you can get, you know, kind of in the longer tail. And so one thing I will say is that these gorgeous collector's boxes, which, you know, shout out to Morgan, who's the new designer on our team, who's done a lot of the design work on these, you know, both for pre-code and for Archie. Those are 100% Kickstarter exclusive. So like, we will not offer those again, no matter what. Like that, this particular, you know, form factor and collection will be, you know, just for this initial release. And then we're, you know, quite frankly, we haven't settled on, you know, what we're, how we're going to continue to make this stuff available, because we do want it to be special, and, you know, this kind of first collection to be not exclusive, but to be worth the what other word can I use? Worth the
investment.
I don't want to say that word. Worth the belief.
I feel like it's
in the
to
project.
Me.
You know, I think, you know, I just don't think that people are, I don't want to promote the notion that it's an investment, even though, you know, I have 25 long boxes of comics, which I certainly looked at in some way as an investment when I was buying them, but I was buying them because I loved them and wanted them, not because I thought I was going to be able to flip them. So, you know,
I guess that's why
there's anything wrong with that, by the way. But
I mean, I guess I look at the definition a little bit differently, because
yeah,
it's not, to me, an investment. It's not always going to be sold. You know, I'm not always investing in something to sell it. I mean, like, I invest in time, and you know what I mean? So
time and love. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, I mean, like, a lot of my collection, I don't know that I'll ever let go of it, you know, but, and that's kind of how I look at this. I mean, like, who knows what'll happen, you know, when people start to get these and people start breaking up sets and stuff like that. Like we've talked about, I'm excited to see, but I mean, like, I can pretty much guarantee that, you know, I probably will never break mine up, and that's something that will be, you know, a showpiece for me. Like, I mean, that's just how it's going to be. So, you know, I am curious to kind of see that, but yeah, no, I mean, like, I look at that as, you know, it could go either way, but man, yeah, no, like,
yeah, I mean, we talked about that. I do think there will become, you know, a secondary market of some kind, and I think that'll just be fascinating and exciting to kind of see how that develops. Again, because this is a version of this material that doesn't exist in any other way. So I think as people discover it and understand it, and becomes more and more a thing, there will be more demand for that stuff, and then more demand for the new projects and all that good stuff. So I think it's a balancing act in the.
I still can't wait to see how many go up as originals, because I mean, like I even still see, like Hulk 181s and like real facsimiles that look brand new and look like way too good to be true that are still being listed as original. Or, I don't want to say being listed as originals, but not being specifically called out as a facsimile.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that can be confusing for somebody that
it's something a number of people have raised online as well. And I think we're doing two things. So here, I think there are two components to this, and it's thinking about. So one component is, there's not much we can do to prevent people from doing, the crazy things that people do on places like eBay, for example, where you're buying, kind of sight unseen. So there's not much we can do about that, unfortunately, except I will say, as this develops, if you are buying from someplace like eBay, I would demand that the seller show you two things: the back cover and the indicia. Because there are the only two things that we're doing that are different than the original printing is in the indicia, which is the copyright area. This will have the current date and time of printing. It'll have a 2025 date stamp on it. There's a very subtle little Authentic Editions logo in the indicia area. And these are, copyright in the case of the pre-code horror stuff, copyright Macroverse and Authentic Editions. And then there's a very small, subtle, cool thing that we've also done on the back cover, which I won't reveal just yet. But those two things will be the things that make these distinct from the originals. Everything else we've done, everything we possibly can to make it identical. But that alone, for any sort of CGC or grading purposes, is going to make them very apparent for anyone that's trying to pass it off as a original graded book. So I think the only real concern there is just people being unscrupulous in peer-to-peer selling situations.
Yeah, I think that, obviously I don't think that there's going to be an issue with any sent in and graded side. I mean, that's not anything that I would even think of, but definitely on those little secondary, like you said, eBay and stuff like that. I mean, I've seen all kinds of stuff. So
my earliest experience with eBay was probably, I moved to California in 99. Yeah, 99. And so, relatively early days of the internet. I think eBay had been around for a year or so when I started to poke around on it, and I bought a new laptop off of eBay, and it was the total Western Union scam. So I 100% fell for that early version of
oh wow,
send us the money via Western Union, we'll send you the computer. And I sent the money, never got anything else back. So that was a good $1,500 lesson or something at the time.
Yeah, back then, man, computers were crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that and obviously the stuff that we've learned in other arenas over the past couple of years, like you just want to check the stuff that you're doing and the stuff that you're getting and who you're
for sure
from and all that good stuff. But
it's funny, especially on like the on Facebook and the comic groups that I'm a part of on there. It's funny how many people post like some of these listings and they're like, guys, this is a scam, call them out. And I'm sitting there like, but I'm like at the same time, and it's kind of like I used to do in crypto, and same thing, like you kind of have to know if you're investing that much money on something, the ins and outs of what to look for. So I don't know, but it's still going to be interesting.
Verify. I mean, all of that aside,
me is honestly, I hope to see big numbers on them
Yeah.
for people trying to just to draw attention. I mean,
Yeah.
not that someone buys it,
Oh,
but
no,
just
totally. I mean, I have not ever been an auction house person, but I have definitely started watching, some of the auctions, and what there's again, we talked about Suspense Number 3. Suspense Number 3 is the most valuable non-Marvel, non-DC book on the market right now. We paid an obscene price for the copy that we got to be able to create it for the collection. But a new auction just went up literally, I think it was yesterday or the day before, where the starting bid is $110,000. And that's more than we paid. So I think, it's going to be wild to see, what happens. And I'm not saying we had anything to do with that, but I think it's gonna be wild to see what happens with some of these, rare books that, my belief is that, having more people have exposure to them will actually make the originals more valuable, not less, because there's still just a very big difference in having the thing from the time.
well, and the cool thing is, and this is definitely something that's happened to me, is like the more you get your hands on stuff like that,
Yep.
and the more you kind of get the feel for it and start to read it and enjoy this, the more you have that urge to get the original,
I mean, we're the ones making this stuff, and I still so Macroverse, the company, owns this collection of material that we had to pull together to make this product. I don't own that stuff personally, but I do find myself now also kind of trolling Heritage, going like, man, I'd really like to have a copy of Cheaper Till 19. Do I want to spend $15,000 on it right now? No. But I would love to have a copy.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. But I mean, like I said, the more I collect, I mean, you just find yourself like really wanting that. And I think that there's a lot of people that feel that same way, and it adds value to those. Like you said, I mean, like the more respect that's there for those originals, I mean,
yeah,
the more valuable they are.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, that's what's going on. I will do a quick update on another project that people may either remember or will get introduced to very quickly. We did a project with the creators of Robot Chicken about a year ago. This was actually our first experience of making something on Kickstarter. We didn't do it through us, but we did it through Stupid Buddy, which is the studio that makes that show. So this graphic novel called the Von Dingles, which is just a ton of fun. And the basic premise is, if Easter eggs, got forgotten and then grew arms and legs and went on adventures, what would that be like? And so this is very fun, funny, quirky, kind of all ages, eggs on adventures. I can't help myself but do egg puns when I talk about this. The excellent adventures of the Von Dingles. We have completed all the artwork and are actually doing the final print polish on that as well. So that will be shipping to Kickstarter backers also very early next year. And then we are planning a wider retail release for that, probably middle.
You guys have what's because I know that's a graphic novel, right?
Yeah.
What's the page count on that?
What is the page count? Actually, I won't share my screen at the moment, but I have it pulled up. I was literally working on it before we jumped on this call. So let's see, what is the page count on it currently? 126 pages, including the cover. And I think it's going to either go up or down a couple, because one thing about printing is it has to be in 4-page, or has to be divisible by 4 in order to work on the press. So we'll either have to take 2 pages out or add 2 pages. That's not all story. There is like the credit page and the title pages and stuff like that in the graphic novel. But I think it's over 90 pages of story. And
then as far as like logistics and stuff, I mean, is that going to be anything similar or totally different shipping process?
Totally different. This is a much more traditional graphic novel, so it'll be printed at the same printer that we work with, and then that will be shipped to Kickstarter backers, and then we'll be doing a retail edition of it later next year as well. So that'll have a traditional retail release as well, but different covers. So the covers, in this case, it's the covers that are the Kickstarter exclusives, as well as the other perks and things that were in the campaign.
Yeah.
And then the retail version will be different.
Well, speaking of perks, that was one of the last things my question was for this Archie. What were the first? I know that a couple have been opened. What were?
Well, actually, before I talk about the specific Archie stretch goals, there is one other thing for people that are interested in this stuff. So we wanted, and we will always want to create more value for people that support more of our stuff. And so in this case, because we're dealing with these specific collections and physical books, it didn't seem like there was anything cooler we could do than create a bonus issue that was exclusive to people that back both campaigns. So if you're a Pre-Code Horror backer or want to become a Pre-Code Horror backer and you're an Archie backer, then we found the perfect connective tissue between the two. It is a issue of Pep Comics number 16. So Pep 22 is the original introduction of Archie. Prior to Archie, the same publishing company that would become the Archie publishing company was doing their own versions of superheroes and their own horror stories and those kinds of things. So in this early part of the Pep run, Pep number 16, they introduced another character, which is fascinating and felt right at home in Pre-Code Horror, Madam Satan. So the introduction of Madam Satan is the star of Pep 16. And so that's the bonus issue if you back both campaigns. The way that will work is once Archie closes, we'll be able to see that you back both campaigns, and then we'll ship that bonus issue with the Archie collection when that ships out around June of next year is when we're expecting that to ship. So that is the bonus offer for both for backing both. And then actually, as we're kind of wrapping up, let me just kind of share, if you haven't seen the Archie Kickstarter, we did this with Pre-Code, so I'll just do a little quick walkthrough. If I can share my screen in just a second here. So this is the Kickstarter page for Archie. Let's see if I can go full screen here. Doesn't really like going full screen. And you know what? As we're closing out Pre-Code Horror and moving to Archie, we'll go to our Archie background now as well. Boom. So this is what the Kickstarter page looks like. Adam Martin, who is my co-founder and been my creative writing partner for over 20 years now as well, produced both of these videos. They both came out awesome. He's become the somewhat willing face of Authentic Editions. Quick side note, after he did the Pre-Code Horror one and we were starting to put Archie together, he's like, who should be the narrator for this? And we're like, it's you. So I think
you should have known that was coming already. The first one was so perfect.
I think we're going to see a lot more of Adam as we unveil these projects. So yeah, we just crossed 60K today in the first 48 hours. So pretty happy about that. But there's a couple cool things that we're doing in here. This is a very geeky thing, but we figured out we could use animated GIFs in the campaign. So we brought some of the little pieces to life here, which is a lot of fun. One of the points that we make is that, only 4 characters have been continuously published as monthly comic books since the Golden Age. It's Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Archie. So pretty cool, just the legacy of that. So, we've talked about kind of what this is. The main offering, like with Pre-Code Horror, we have a combined kind of core collection. So if you're not someone that cares about getting like a full run of a particular series, but you want kind of the best of or the sampler platter, this is the version of that for this campaign. It's the Tip Top 10. And we focused here on the most kind of core issues for the history of Archie. So it's the first appearance of Archie, first appearance of Betty and Veronica, which actually are in 2 different issues. First appearance of Sabrina the Teenage Witch in Archie's Madhouse number 22, and then a couple of the most iconic issues for other reasons, like this version of this issue of Pep, which is the first cover appearance of Archie. It's just iconic moments from Betty and Veronica. Like that's kind of how we choose these core collection elements. So there's the Tip Top 10, which is the main kind of core offering. 10 comics for $100, $10 an issue. And then, we continue to talk about, why is this important? What's the history of Archie, the relevance of Archie? And then as we were designing the campaign, this was the thing that we couldn't resist doing. So in Pre-Code Horror, we had one set of collector's boxes where if you got all the different all the different sets, they all line up to form one just kind of gorgeous bookshelf ready collector set. With Betty and Veronica and with Archie, we just couldn't help but kind of lean into this rivalry between the blonde and the brunette in Riverdale. And so we're actually doing a little leaderboard over the course of the campaign as to which gets more support based on which collector set people choose to back. So every day or so, we'll update the leaderboard with who's in the lead. And then at the end of the campaign, if Team Betty wins, there will be a bonus Betty poster. And if Team Veronica wins, then there will be a bonus Veronica poster. So basically, the winner will dictate which of those goes out to all the backers as a bonus reward. So having a lot of fun with that. And again, Morgan, shout out to her for designing these, because I just think they're absolutely awesome. So again, 2 different sets, 2 different boxes for each of the different sets. So we also have a set of gold foils for the Tip Top 10. If you just care about the ladies in Riverdale, this Vintage Vixens collection is both Betty and Veronica and the first appearance of Sabrina. So it's the combination of Betty and Veronica and Archie's Madhouse. And then in the core rewards, there's the basically everything, which is everything except the foils, and then everything, which is everything. So includes the foils, and then an exclusive run of Jackpot comics 1 through 9, which is another of the kind of classic Archie series, which has some additional first appearances and things like that. So 89 issues in total, and the kind of ultimate set here. You missed it at this point, but anyone that backed the campaign in the first 48 hours, we had another bonus poster. And then you can also get any of the individual runs. So if you're a specific collector that just wants the run of Peps, there's 20 issues of Pep, 20 issues of Archie, 10 issues of Betty and Veronica, 10 issues of Archie's Madhouse. So each of those are also available just as their own discrete set. So we've had a couple of people which have said, like, Tip Top 10 is great, but I really just want Betty and Veronica. We're like, great, get that. And so, part of how Kickstarters work is, we unlock stretch goals along the way. So we've just crossed 60K. So the first couple are unlocked, which in this case, we've decided to do uncut sheets of trading cards. And there's kind of a cool thing where one side of the sheet will be important moments from the early issues. So essentially, panels from these early issues that represent kind of the history and the evolution of each particular character. And then the other side is what would be assembled if they were cut, but these are uncut, of the, kind of classic cover that is for that particular character, generally the first appearance. So like with Archie, for example, it's 9 core panels or key panels, and then the cover of Archie number 1. With Betty and Veronica, it's Betty because currently she's winning. So it's, her introduction and evolution, and then Betty and Veronica number 1. You can see Jughead is next. And then we've got a bunch of fun additional stretch goals, including if we really blow this campaign up, including 2 additional bonus issues, which will be unlocked along the way, which is very fun. More about us. If you want to see what this actually looks like, it's going to be hard to see it on the stream, but if you visit the Kickstarter page, you can see a close-up of one of the panels. This is from an actual part of the book that we've now processed and gotten ready for print. So you can really see, the dot patterns and the coloring, the kind of original line art, even the printing imperfections. Like, to me, that's just part of the magic of this era, is there's just such a specific look and feel to what this artwork looks like. The way that the print roller actually applies the ink to the paper, you get this kind of texture in all the blacks, which is just a function of the way that they were printed at the time. So, we want to keep that so that you're getting, again, this sort of real true representation of what these look like when they were printed. Here's all of those guys. And then, just a heartfelt thank you. So, that's what the campaign looks like. Really pleased with how this all looks and how it came out. And just like with Pre-Code Horror, cannot wait to get it in people's hands.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think, again, sold out or sold through the first original funding instantly almost, and the updates have been nice, steady coming in. So I'm hoping that it stays on about that same track. And
yeah, I think it will. I mean, we've got a bunch lined up for right after the holidays. So, my expectation, I'd love to be proven wrong, but my expectation is we'll probably see a little dip for the holiday, and then
the holidays,
right after. So
I wouldn't be surprised.
But yeah, it's one of the things I've come to love is, the backer updates and interacting with the people that are, into the campaign. And so, if you are one of those people, like, do not hesitate to reach out in the comments or, comment on the different updates. We try to do backer updates every day or so, and especially during the early stages of the campaign, and then definitely once or twice a week. Even still on Pre-Code Horror, we're putting out, updates at least once a week with kind of where things are at and keeping people updated on the schedule and, the process. So, you can't over communicate to people that have been, willing to kind of take it on faith that, we can deliver what we say we can. So, it's all good. Yeah. So Archie, Pre-Code Horror, last chance for Pre-Code Horror. Jump into Archie, get the PEP 16, issue for backing both. I think, Tiny, this is probably our last stream before Christmas.
Yeah.
I suspect we may get one more in. Let's see. Oh, maybe not. Next week this time is the 26th. So I think our next stream will be beginning of January. It'll be kickoff 2025 stream. So for you and for everyone that's been watching these and that's been, paying attention to the journey in whatever fashion, I do hope everyone has a wonderful holiday. I very much appreciate you, jumping on here every week and talking about this stuff and asking questions and letting me talk about all this stuff because you can't get me to shut up if you don't make me shut up. But I'm very excited about all of it. I appreciate you being very excited about all of it. And for everyone that's on the ride, the last thing I will say, this will be a big part of what we talk about in 2025 is the evolution of the Macroverse app and the Macroverse platform. If you go to macroverse.com right now, so actually I will just show this on the stream as well. It's going to seem like a small thing, but I recommend that people do this. So you can see we've got the Archie homepage up, but there is a button here that says join waitlist. So go in, put your email in, click the send transmission button, and you'll be on the wait list for the first cohort of users that we're going to open up the next version of the app and the platform to in early 2025. There will be some benefits to being early. I will just leave it at that for the moment, but get on the wait list at macroverse.com. Tell other people, get on the wait list at macroverse.com. If you're a comics fan, if you're a nerd and a geek like us about any of this stuff, you're gonna want to be there. So there's going to be a lot of stuff that we do exclusively through the site in next year, over the course of next year. Some of what we talked about, some things that we have not talked about at all, and a bunch of things that we've been doing prior to Authentic Editions will live again on the next version of the site as well. So there's a bunch coming in 2025 in that arena. Get your email in.
Definitely. I'll be doing I haven't done that yet, so I'll be doing that as soon as this ends.
Yes.
And
do it.
Yeah. Thing I want to end up, I just want to tell everybody happy holidays, and I hope everybody just is safe and has a good time, and tell somebody you love them. I just hope that everybody gets to spend some time with some family and people that they love. And the end of the year is great and safe for everybody. And I'm really looking forward to starting the new year. I can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a wild 2024. It's going to be a great 2025. And to echo everything you just said, like, take a minute for yourself, regroup if you need to, be with people that you can be with, that you care about, that care about you, and I think for me, and I hope for everyone, this is a moment to also kind of reflect on what the year has been and project into what you hope the next year will be. And no matter what the circumstances are, every year really is an opportunity for a refresh, an update, a way to move forward, whatever it is that you're trying to move forward. So I do wish absolutely the best for everyone, whether you're paying attention to us or not. But Tiny, I appreciate you and your friendship and everything that you do to support us as well. And it will be, the ride will continue. Can at least say that.
Oh yeah, I can't. There's so it's just to think that it's the year's already gone by this fast. But I mean, this is kind of what we've been waiting for. I mean, I remember just waiting and waiting and waiting for October to come.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, man, I can't wait for the new year. And next time we're talking, hopefully I'll be having a package come in shortly after that.
It will be shortly after that, yes.
And I'll have some cool stuff to share with everybody. So,
Awesome. Well, thank you, my friend. Again, to everyone watching, have a wonderful, safe holiday, and we'll see you in 2025. And I am ending